Imagine the sun dropping below the horizon and the world going black, not the dim glow of streetlights, not the blue flicker of a phone. Absolute crushing darkness, the kind of dark where you cannot see your own hand in front of your face. The temperature drops by 10 degrees in an hour. Every rustle in the grass could be a predator, every snapping twig could be an enemy, and you have no locked door, no alarm system, no torch, just your group, a fire, and your own racing heart. This was not camping, this was survival, and every night, for hundreds of thousands of years, early humans faced it and lived. How did they do it? The night was not quiet. The darkness amplified every sound. An owl's screech became a spirit. A hyena's laugh meant a pack was close. The low growl of a bear in the distance was not a distant threat, it was a countdown. The hunter, lying on his hide mat near the fire, had trained his ears to filter the noise. He knew the difference between the wind shaking a bush and a predator testing the perimeter. The gatherer slept with one ear open, her body tuned to the rhythm of the camp. If the fire crackled too softly, she woke. If a child whimpered, she woke. If the dog at the edge of camp growled once, twice, 3 times, everyone woke. The night was when the things that killed humans came out. Cave lions, dire wolves, saber-toothed cats. They were not stupid. They had watched the camp all day, hiding in the tall grass, waiting. Night was their time. Humans were slow. Humans were blind, and the only thing standing between them and a mouthful of teeth was a circle of light. Fire was everything. The central hearth in a camp was not allowed to go out. Ever. The elder, whose hands were gnarled from decades of feeding flames, was the keeper of the coals. Fire was warmth when the temperature dropped below freezing. Fire was the wall that kept predators at bay. A saber-tooth would not charge a ring of flame. Fire was the light that let mothers feed their children and hunters repair their spears. But fire was also fragile. Rain could kill it. Wind could scatter it. A deep sleep could let it dwindle to ash. So the night was divided. Every member of the band took shifts. 2 hours of sleep, then an hour of watch. The hunter sat with his spear across his knees, staring into the dark beyond the firelight. He listened for the snap of a twig that was too heavy to be a rabbit. He watched for the reflection of eyes. The gatherer, on her shift, added dried moss and bone to the fire to keep the flames high. The elder hummed softly to stay awake. The child, when old enough, learned to sit in silence and count the stars. Sleep was never a solid block. It was stolen in pieces between the hours of fear. Outside the firelight, the shelter was the second line of defense. In the Ice Age, early humans built bone houses, domes made from mammoth skulls and tusks, covered in stitched hides. These structures blocked the wind and trapped the heat of the fire. A well-built bone house could keep the interior 40 degrees warmer than the outside air. In warmer climates, simpler lean-tos and brush huts served the same purpose. A woven mat of branches and leaves could keep rain off. A trench dug around the shelter could divert water and stop snakes. The shelter was also a psychological barrier. A predator had to break through a wall of bone and hide before it reached the humans inside. The sound of that breaking gave the hunter seconds, precious, life-saving seconds, to grab his spear and fight. But the most powerful survival tool early humans had was not fire or shelter, it was each other. A lone human in the ancient night was dead, no question, but a group of 20, sleeping in a pile of furs, sharing heat, taking turns on watch, that group could survive anything. The gatherer wrapped her arm around the child, sharing her body warmth. The hunter pressed his back against the elders, feeling the old man's breathing steady him. The artist slept curled around a small figurine, a talisman he believed held the spirit of his ancestors. The night was also when the group bonded. In the quiet hours, the elder told stories, tales of the ancestors, myths about the stars, the story of the first fire. These stories did more than entertain. They taught, they warned, they reminded everyone that they were part of something bigger than themselves. The darkness outside the fire was full of death, but inside the circle was a small, fragile world of the living, and that world held together because of trust. Staying awake was hard. The human body craves sleep, especially after a day of hunting and gathering, but the night watch was sacred. If the guard fell asleep, the camp could be overrun. Some groups used a system of chain watching. The sentinel tied a string around their wrist, and if they nodded off, the tug on the string would wake them. Others used small painful tricks, a sharp stone under the foot, a pinch of cold water to the face. The elder knew a plant that, when chewed, kept the mind alert, a crude, bitter caffeine. The cost of failure was death, and every adult knew it. When the sentinels saw eyes in the dark, they did not scream. A scream could panic the group and scatter the fire. Instead, they made a specific sound, a low, rhythmic tapping on a log. The hunter, hearing that signal, rose silently. The others stayed still, waiting. If the threat passed, the tapping stopped. If it continued, more rose. The group moved like a single organism, silent and coordinated. The night taught early humans to communicate without words. The night did not just threaten the body, it threatened the mind. Early humans, like us, feared the dark. They filled it with spirits, demons, and the ghosts of the dead. The artists painted those fears on cave walls, monsters, half-human beasts, the creatures that stalked the edge of the firelight. Those paintings were not just art, they were a way of controlling the fear, a way of saying, I see you, I name you, you cannot surprise me. The night was also when grief and loneliness hit hardest. A mother who had lost her child, a warrior who had failed his hunt. The dark amplified pain, but it also amplified the comfort of the group. The gatherer, mourning, could lean against her sister. The hunter, ashamed, could sit in silence with the elder and not be judged. The night stripped away the distractions of the day and forced people to confront each other and themselves. Tonight, you will turn off a lamp, pull up a blanket, and sleep without fear. That is a miracle. For your ancestors, night was a battle. Every sunset was a war declaration. Every sunrise was a victory. They survived the dark with fire, with shelter, with loyalty, and with the fierce, unbreakable human instinct to protect each other. The night shaped them. It sharpened their senses, deepened their bonds, and filled their imaginations with gods and monsters. And they passed all of that down to you. Next time you lie in the dark, listening to the wind outside your window, remember the sentinel by the fire. Remember the eyes in the dark. Remember that the night was once an enemy, and we beat it.